Good evening, ma'am. In today's video, I'm going to deal with Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986. To prevent child labor, there are so many international conventions and state legislature laws are there. And in specifically, we are going to deal with the Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act 1986. In this act, the government has promulgated this legislation to regulate provisions related to child labor practices in India. The government made sustainable changes in the provisions of the act in the year 2016. From there, a complete prohibition was imposed of the employment of child who are below age of 14. According to this act, the child which is lesser than 14 years should not be work as child labor in any factories or any industries or any agriculture field. They must be give a compulsory education to those children under Article 21A of Indian Constitution. And this act has provided minimum age limit for employment as 14 years. And there are so many international conventions, specifically the Declaration of Rights of Children 1959, the International Convention of Right of the Children 1989. This is the sum of the legislations. International legislation deals with child labor, and there are so many amendments. Particularly, there are 4 amendments are happened in this Child Labor Act. Amendment of the Act 11 of 1948, Amendment of Act 69 of 1951, Amendment of the Act 44 of 1958, Amendment of Act 27 of 1961. The right of child labor under the Constitution is mainly deals with child labor in some of the provisions. The provisions of the child labor in the Constitution are leading amendments made by the provision of right of child in the 86th Constitution of the amendment, which is right to education. Under the 86th amendment of the Indian Constitution, right to education can be included under the Article 21A of Indian Constitution, and Article 24 and Article 39 clause C, 39 clause F, and Article 45 are some of the provisions of the Constitution deals with prevention of child labor. And there are so many acts in our Indian legislation system deals and with protection of children, lacks etc. like Children Pleading of Labor Act 1933, Children Act 1960, Indian Minority and Guardianship Act 1956, Immortal Traffic Prevention of Act 1956, Young Person Harmful Publications Act 1915, Guardians and Wards Act 1890, Infant Milk Subsidiary Feeding Borders and Infant Foods Regulation of Protection of Supply and Distribution Act 1992, and Right to Children Free and Compulsory Education Act 2019, Prohibition of Child Marriage Act 2006, Prohibition on Juvenile Justice Act 2000, Child Labor Prohibition Act, which is this Act 1986. And likewise, there are so many acts which prevents the rights of children in India. These are some of the overview of today's class, ma'am. Thank you.